Hey, Andy Darty here, and I am excited to bring you a message about grace today. So, I'm actually going to start off with a story, and this story comes to us from Philip Yancey. He tells the story of long ago there was a British conference on the topic of comparative religions, and experts from around the world met to talk and have a spirited debate about the differences between the major world religions. And at some point, the discussion turned to what made Christianity unique from the others. Was it the incarnation? Well, no. Other religions do have stories of God's taking on human form. Was it the resurrection? No. Other religions claim to have examples of people coming back from the dead. So the debate raged on until finally, at some point, C.S. Lewis came walking into the room and said, "What's all this fuss about?" Once they explained what the debate had been about, C.S. Lewis just flippantly said, "Oh, well, that's easy. Grace. Grace is unique to Christianity." Now, after some discussion, everyone pretty much had to agree. Every religion has some path or rite of passage to reach God or to reach perfection that entails some sort of a cost to a person. Buddhism has an 8-step path. Hinduism has the doctrine of karma. The Jews have the covenant law of Moses. Islam has the code of law explained in the Quran. But only Christianity has a God whose love comes free of charge with no strings attached. Only Christianity dares to make God's love unconditional. Only Christianity do we see Jesus humble himself the way he did to leave his home in glory. Philippians 2 says that Jesus, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking on the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. John 1:14 says, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." Jesus would go on to tell stories that give us a picture of God that is unlike any other God. A loving father like the one we see in the parable of the prodigal son. We see a father in this story that is humiliated and dishonored by his no good adult son. Then, near the end of the story, we see that father running to his now repentant son. That father never seeks revenge or repayment. He never demands justice from the repentant son. Only Christianity has a God like that, who is full of grace and mercy and love and forgiveness. Only Christianity has the Son of God pay the ultimate price on the cross in order to deliver the gift of salvation to mankind through grace. Ephesians 2 says, "But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in our transgressions. It is by grace that you have been saved." And a few verses later, it repeats itself again, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that someone may boast." This passage is about grace, amazing grace, and that word means unmerited favor from God. I want to close this last part of the message here with a paraphrase from my favorite contemporary Christian author, Max Lucado. He says, "I think we have settled for wimpy grace. This grace, it occupies a nice place on a hymn or in a church sign. It never causes trouble, never demands any response. And when asked, do we believe in grace, who would say no?" I think Max is right. We've settled for a wimpy concept of grace, and Satan has pulled the mask or the veil of commonplace over our eyes. We look at grace and we sort of say, "Ho hum, I sure am glad God gave us his grace." But do we really understand grace? Do we really understand what God has done for us? Max then asks a deeper question. Have you been changed by grace? There's the question. Have you been shaped by grace, strengthened by grace? Has thinking of grace ever caught you in the throat or given you that lump in your throat or just that pain in your chest? Has it shaken you to your senses? These are the questions we need to think about. So I pray that you will take a long look at grace, and when you grasp it, the real weight of amazing grace, I think it will be life-altering. Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this uplifting message. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you won't miss a single encouraging message, and may God bless you.